section we are going to do complete hands-on. So in this section we are going to do a simple programming exercise that is like better than a hello world. Just we're going to read a text file and then figure out how many lines are there in the text file. The basic thing that you're going to learn here is how to do the environment setup, how to write your program in Scala, how to do the compilation, how to run it. Okay, that's the basic objective. End of this course, you will have a development environment set and you would have written your simple program. And based on that environment, you're going to do other programming as you go further. Okay, we'll get. So assume that you have installed Scala, Spark, SBT. These three things are very much important. And in our past sections, you would have followed, if you would have followed the instruction, we should be having SBT installed, we should have Scala installed, we should have Spark installed. And you can also have a Spark home created in your environment so that it is helpful for you. Okay, every time you don't need to give the complete path. And the people who are familiar with the Linux development will be knowing what it means by having a path variable or environmental variable. Okay, so for ease of development, I'm having an environment variable called Spark Home. The Spark Home will be pointing to the place where Spark is installed. So I can actually use all the commands that I want, putting like $spark home, sbin start all to start all the Spark process, or if I want to invoke the Spark shell, I can just use $spark home bin Spark shell. Okay. Just before getting into, I'll just help you. I'll just show you how this environmental variable is helpful for you. So this is my machine, and I am in a particular directory. If I want to know where is Spark installed, I can actually tell echo $Spark home. So this is the place where in my machine Spark is installed. Okay, each one of you, depending upon in which architecture, which machine you have installed Spark, this would be different. If you are a Linux person, the Linux path or the Spark home will be different. And if you are on a Windows, your Spark home can be different. Windows doesn't directly work like having an environmental variable. There you need to go and then do a system settings and follow different instruction set. But if you are on a Mac, you can actually do this. Okay, so if I want to start the shell, I can actually tell, instead of giving the whole path of the Spark shell command, I can actually tell $spark home / sbin Spark Spark shell. Okay, so Spark shell is available under the bin folder of the Spark installation path. So I can actually start this command. Okay, so if you have to invoke another command that we will be shortly doing is sbin / Spark submit. So Spark submit is a command that we will be looking into our course in this section. So all these commands are available here. So this is just an easy of use. So you just have an environment called a Spark home set up in your thing, so that it will be easy for you to do all the operations. Okay. So you should be able to use the Spark home to access all the commands like Spark submit, start all, stop all, Spark shell, and everything. Okay. So the next step is you need to set up the project environment. So choose a development folder. You can actually have anything as a development folder, either inside your workspace or anything. It's just find a folder where you can actually start doing all your programming exercise. That folder is what I'm calling as your development folder. Inside the folder, create another folder called first, FIRST. And inside that you are going to create a file called build.sbt, and then in that file you're going to copy these contents. Okay, I'll just show you in an example. I'll show you on the shell how it is. So I'll just go back. So workspace hyphen Spark. This is my development environment. Say I keep all my Spark examples here. Okay. And here you have to create a folder called make directory first. Since I already have the first, it is there. So, but you can actually create the folder. After that, you go to this folder called first, and then here you need to create a file called build.sbt. So I am using vim build.sbt, but you can actually use any text editor and then do it. Okay. So I'll just show you the contents of the build.sbt. So this is actually your build file. Okay. So the way that we are going to do all the development is that we will write all our programs in a Scala file, and these Scala files has to be compiled. So to do that, Scala has its own build tool called Scala build tool called .sbt, and the build instruction has to be given in a file called build.sbt. That is what we are preparing here. So you create a file called build.sbt. In that file, you are telling just give the name for your application called name equal to first Spark. You give the version of this particular program, and you give an organization. You can actually give anything like your package name. This is very important here, the Scala version. So the Scala version is the 2.11.8. So it should be like your current Scala version, and this version should be same. And there are lots of programming exercise that we will be doing it going further, where the Scala version of your program as well as the Scala version of the Spark should be same. Otherwise it won't compile. I mean it won't run. For this example, the dependency is not there. So to understand what is your Spark version, you can actually start the Spark and then figure out what is the Scala version using which the Spark was built. Okay, so I'll reiterate. For lots of Spark programs, the Scala version using which you are going to build your program as well as the Scala version using which the Spark is designed has to be same. In build.sbt file, you are telling what is the Scala version I am going to be using for this project. You are putting the latest Scala version called 2.11.8. If you want to know what is the Spark version that I am having, let us just put that spark home slash bin spark shell. If I start this one, this is Spark starting in the local mode. So if you see, the Spark is 1.6.1 is the version. Spark version is 1.6.1. If you see this below, using Scala version 2.10.5. Okay. So, and okay, I'm exiting it here because I don't want anything. So this program I'm using Scala version 2.11.8. For this example, it doesn't matter, but there will be other examples that we will be seeing as we go further, where the Scala version of the Spark as well as the Scala version for this program has to be same. So we'll look into this build.sbt file. So you put the name for it, you put the version, you put the organization, you put the Scala version, and you're going to put the library dependencies for this particular project. You are telling I need Spark and I need Spark Core. I need Spark Core version 1.6.1. Okay, that is what you are telling over here. And then you are using a Maven as your repository, build repository. So Maven is actually the place where all the jar files are all kept, and then the dependencies between the jar files are all resolved using the Maven repository. Okay, that is the thing. So get this file ready. So your folder, I'll reiterate, you should have a folder called first, and inside the folder first you create a file called build.sbt. In the build.sbt, put these contents and save this file. Use whatever text editor you want to use it. If you are not comfortable with Vim, don't use Vim, use text editors. So now we'll move on to the project environment setup is ready. So you got the build file ready. The next thing is that you need to now create the source code. Okay. So now, so you have to create one more directory called project directory. So inside the folder first, create another folder called project. Go to this project and create a file called builder properties. There you have to tell what is the SBT version. That is like you are told in the build.sbt file what is the Scala version. In the build.properties file you need to tell what is the SBT version. Okay. So I'll show you this one. So go here, PWD. So you are in the folder called first. So create a folder called project and move to this folder, Vim builder properties. So in this builder properties there is only one line, sb.version equal to 0.13.9. For this simple example, this version is immaterial, but then there are other examples wherein the SBT version, the Scala version and the Spark version all has to be synced together. Okay. So create this folder and then get back to the same first folder again. So you are now in the folder first. You have created a build.sbt file and you created a folder called project. Inside that folder project, you created a builder properties file. In that builder properties file, you have added one line called sbt.version equal to 0.13.9. Okay. Now creating the source directory. Now we have to go and then start writing the program. So our programs are kept inside the folder called source main Scala. Because a Spark program can be written either with Java, Python or Scala, you are going to tell that where I am actually. If it is a Scala program, the Scala program is available under this folder called Scala. If it is a Java program, it will be available under source main Java. Okay, since we are going to deal with only with Scala for this example, go ahead and create a folder called make directory -p src main Scala. So this is a short form for creating these recursive folders. Okay, let us go here. So you go to this folder src main Scala. Since I have already created this folder, you can actually bypass it. So, but you have to create this folder called, you have to create it by make directory -p src Scala. If I put it, it will say the folder is already available. Oh my goodness. Okay, this folder is, so this is the folder. So go to this particular folder now. So you are in the current folder. Okay. So cd src main Scala. After you create this folder, go to this folder. Okay. Now in this folder, create a file called spark me.scala. Okay, using any text editor. So I am going to just use Vim because I am comfortable with Vim, but you can actually do anything that you want. Okay. So Vim is a simple text editor, but then you can actually use any text editor and then open it. So spark me.scala. So open this file and move on to this particular. So this is the program that we are going to write. Okay. So copy this program and paste it into your Scala program, and then we will just go over the source code in detail, but first complete the task of creating the file. Okay, so what we are doing is vim spark me app.scala. Inside that you are going to type these things. Okay, so just copy it. The first line is the package, so the package name can be anything that you want. I'm just giving in.go.spark, and then you are doing your import. So import is to say that what are all the different libraries and other uh, libraries that you want to use for this program. So this program needs a Spark context and a Spark configuration. Okay, we have seen in the shell, when the shell is created, it will say that automatically a Spark context is created for you, because Spark shell wanted to make you start your Scala experiments directly on the shell. So it created a variable called sc, that is a Spark context. When you are going to write your own program, you need to create the Spark context by yourself. A Spark context is nothing but telling where is the Spark available and then how do I reach that Spark. That is all you are going to tell by the Spark context. Okay. So that's the Spark context. So Spark context needs your configuration. Okay. So Spark conf will have information about the location of the Spark, and Spark context gives you a handle to work on the particular Spark. Okay. So you are creating an object called SparkMeApp. So if you are new to Scala, what is this object? What is this what is this object? Why not class and all those things? You should reserve it for the Spark introduction class, which is also part of this course, the later stages. I mean, either you are going to cover, you would have covered this Scala introduction before coming to this class, or you will be learning Spark with Scala and then Scala also simultaneously. Okay, so it's up to you how you are learning. But if you are familiar with the Scala, this code should be simple, self-explanatory. You are just creating an object called SparkMeApp. You are creating a new, you are creating a main function. So def main. This function takes arguments as a string of arguments, a string of array as arguments. Okay, and you are creating a conf variable value and you're creating an SC. So conf, you're just putting a new Spark config. So that's a syntax. So it's like you're saying that create a new Spark conf and set the application name call as first app. So you're just telling that create a conf and then set my particular application name as a first app. And you have to create a new context, and new context, I mean a Spark context has to be created. As a command to create a Spark context is you just instantiate the class Spark context by passing this Spark configuration as your argument. Spark conf will have information about where Spark is available. So either it can be local mode or it can be pseudo distributed mode, or it can point to a Spark cluster, or it can point to a AWS. So if the Spark can't be anything, we will be passing this Spark conf information to the command line, which I will show you as we go further. Okay. Now you're saying that this program is about read a file and then find how many lines are there in that file. That's it. That's simple program. So you're just telling which file I need to read. The file is given as an argument. So when we start this program, you will say that the first argument for this program is the file name. Now the second line is familiar to you. Val lines equal to sc.text file of file name. So we know that sc.text file is a way to create an RDD through an external data source. The external data source for us is the file in which the data is available. So all I'm saying is that load this text file and create an RDD called lines. Okay, and I created RDD called lines. What I'm doing next is that value c equal to lines.count. So count is, you know, it is an action command. It will just give you the number of lines in the RDD. That's it. After that, you're going to do a println, and there are this number of lines and this file, particular file. That is what you are printing over here. Okay. Copy this program and either copy it or see from here and then type it. And take care when you copy the things from your slide. There may be lots of new line characters that the PPT would have been introduced. So you have to make sure that those new lines and then additional some kind of a characters are all getting included. So it's always better to put that in a text file and then see if there is any extra characters that gets added to it. You just remove it. You should just exactly have this particular text in your .scala file. Okay. So after this is completed, after you completed writing this file, come back to this original directory. So you should be now in the folder called first. So you should be in this folder called first. You have a build.sbt file, you have a project folder, you have a source folder. Now to compile this program, you need to do this. So now you have to compile this program. The only command that you need to type is sbt package. Okay. So you're going to do that sbt scala build tool. I'm telling build a package, which means that I'm telling generate me a jar file. So I'm just calling this one SBT package. So the build has been successful, and here the build is successful, and where is the program available? So the result will be available in this folder called target. So cd target and this Scala version cd Scala 2.1. If you see here, you got this file. So first Spark 2.1.1.jar. So this is your output file now. So this is the fully contained jar file that can be executed on a Spark cluster. So what essentially we did here is we wrote a Scala program using Spark libraries, and we have compiled this program, and this has created me a jar file. This jar file I can run it on a Spark cluster. Okay, and how am I going to run it is the next step we are going to do. We are going to use a tool called Spark Submit. So we have already seen a tool called Spark Shell. Spark Shell provides you an interactive shell over which you can execute some of the Spark commands. And the next step what we did is what we wanted to write a full-fledged Java program which is using Spark libraries and to do the Spark programs. Now we wrote the program, we compiled it, we built a jar file. And since the jar file has to be executed inside a Spark environment, Spark has provided you a tool called Spark Submit. We are going to use that Spark Submit command and then execute this program. So to run the Spark code, okay. So to execute in a local mode, you just figure out one text file that you want to use, whatever can be a text file. Just create any text file that you want to give it as an input. And what I'm going to give here is, I'm going to use a command called Spark Submit. If you see followed by it minus minus master, and I'm putting local star, which I'm saying is that I am going to run Spark as in the local mode, and then I'm saying minus minus class in.goaa.spark.sparkme app. So that in.goaa.spark was your package name that you would have seen in the code. SparkMe app is your class. So you're telling that this particular class needs to be executed. And the next argument is, where is this class available? I'm telling that class is available in a folder called target slash scala 2.1.1, and then the jar file name in the jar file called first spark underscore 2.11-1.0.jar. So I'll repeat this command. I'm calling a spark submit command, and I'm telling that I'm going to run in a local mode by giving the argument like minus minus master local star, and I'm saying to the Spark submit execute a particular class. So which I'm telling by saying minus minus class in.goa.spark.sparkme app. So sparkme app is the class. Now I need to tell where is this class available. I'm telling this class is available in the jar file, and this jar file is available in this directory called target slash scala 2.1.1, and the name of this jar file is first spark 2.11-1.0.jar. The last argument is input text file dot text. This can be any input file that you can actually give it. It's a local file. It is not a HDFS file. It's a local file, though it can work with HDFS files also. For this example, you're going to give this local file. Okay. So we have compiled it. So now we are going to invoke this particular command $spark home /bin spark submit. Okay. Minus minus master. What has to be given is, you just have to give it exactly the same way. So putting local, and then you're going to tell class this is the class, and I'm telling this class is available under this folder target. Okay, I think I made one mistake. Let's just see which directory I am in here. I am already in this directory. You have to be always in your source directory. So that is your first directory. Now you're going to do the So just check which directory you are in. Dollar, okay, dollar Spark home bin Spark submit. And then the directory is target Scala and then first jar. Okay, and then your input text file. So this input text file, we have created one text file as in the previous section, and we can actually use that same text file. So I'll just see if this text file is still available. Baby names.csv is your text file. You can actually use this. So I am going to use this text file as an input. So I'm just going to copy this. Okay. So I'm just putting the text files, any text file. This can be any file. It can be any text file. Anything that is a text, I'm just passing a CSV file as an input. Okay. So I'm just going to run this guy. So this is run successfully. Okay. And it has stopped. So the results of it will be available under a folder. Okay, we have to now go and then see where are my results. Okay, but in this file I'm not writing results anywhere else. I'm just printing the results on your console. If you see this line, this is your actual results. Okay, if you see here, job finished. Okay, after that, here you see there are 52,253 lines in this particular file that you passed as an input. So this, if you see, we are printing it over here in the code. So there are this many number of lines in this particular file. So our first programming exercise is over. We learned how to set up an environment. So this is predominantly, this exercise is just to have your hands on with a very small program. You basically created an environment where you can actually start doing programming. As we go further, we will be doing a lot of programming, much more complex programming. So essentially in this section we covered how to set up your overall Spark environmental variables, and then how to set up your first development workspace. You create a development workspace in which all your programs are going to be created. For this particular example, you created a folder called first. In this particular folder, you created your SBD file. So build.sbt file, because I'm going to use a Scala build tool as my build tool for doing it. And you create in this build.sbt file, you set up your Scala version, and then you set up your name of the file as well as the app name version and everything. You set it up, and you also told that I'm going to use Maven, and you also told that what are all the Maven repositories that you are interested in doing is. So the Maven repository, from the Maven repository you said that I am interested in using the Spark core library, because this is a Spark application. I need the Spark core library. That's all you did. Okay. So build.sbt, you are telling all this information. Next, you created a folder called projects. In the projects, you created a file called uh, builder properties. In this, you put the information about the SBT version. Next, you created a folder called src main Scala. In this folder, you created this actual source code that you are going to do is SparkMe app. In the SparkMe app, you just wrote the code. You're just declaring the package name, that's ingo.spark, and then you're creating an object called SparkMe app, and you create a main function. This main function takes an argument, array of strings. So one of the arguments that we will be passing when you run this program is the file for which we need to count the number of lines. This program is doing this setting up your configuration where Spark is installed or which Spark to connect to, that is Spark config, and you create a Spark context out of this config, and using Spark context you load a text file using this command called ac.text file, which essentially creates an RDD. So the RDD is called lines. Okay, this lines is nothing but a list of strings. As we saw in the last section, you can create an RDD using ac.text file command. On the RDD, we are now applying just an action called count. This count is an action command. It is not a transformation command. This action command just gives you the length, the number of lines that is there. That's it. And then you are printing it. That puts an end to this particular section. Thank you.